Divine coding. Math proves the existence of God. Nightmare of atheists. I love that title. Let's have a look. Let's see why it's the nightmare of atheists.
Have you ever wondered why everything in nature seems so delightful to our eyes?
Because it's colorful, maybe?
If carefully curated to capture our attention and arouse our curiosity to find the secret behind it. This beauty is due to the existence of fractals in nature. They're all around you, and the veins of leaves.
Oh yeah.
And the waves of the oceans. The pathways of rivers,
Allahu Akbar,
in foam, in the sky when it's lightening, in the spiral structure of galaxies, and in countless other events in the universe.
Yeah.
So, what are fractals? Fractals are shapes in math or geometry that have a special property called self-similarity. This means that even if you zoom in or out and look at different parts of the shape, you'll keep seeing patterns that look the same. To put it simply,
yeah.
A fractal is like a shape that repeats the same design no matter how close up or far away you look.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same with if you look at like flowers, right? Like they have like many petals and they are all like the same. And if you like use a zooming glass and you get like closer, you see still like some sort of kind of like veins or something, like those kind of like small stripes, right? Just like we see even here, and they're like very identical. And yeah, you have like many examples like that, right? Like some could argue that even if you look at your skin, right? Yeah, like you have like a unique fingerprint, right? But if you look at like the way those lines go, you find some similar ones on like the other one. If you like zoom in or something, yeah, you see this like a lot. Or same with like we saw earlier with the leaves, right? If you have like some light coming from one side, you see like all those veins and stuff. I'm not even sure if you call them veins on leaves, but they look like veins, right? But yeah, this is very, very fascinating. Okay, let's continue.
Showing patterns inside patterns. For a better understanding, let's imagine drawing a line and then dividing it into two branches, and then again divide every new line into two. And by repeating this process, you'll get what's called a fractal canopy.
Ah.
Interestingly, you can observe a similar pattern
like cells look too, right?
outside your window. This is indeed a fractal. Fractals exhibit intricate and detailed patterns regardless of the level of magnification.
Wow.
No matter how much you zoom in, the structure keeps revealing increasingly detailed features. They are often generated using simple mathematical rules or iterative processes. However, these simple rules can produce highly complex and intricate patterns.
Yeah, if you move it a bit.
Some common examples of fractals include the Mandelbrot set, Julia set, Sierpinski triangle, Koch snowflake, the Fern fractal,
I've seen those,
and
yeah.
even the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah.
Fractals have applications in various fields including mathematics, physics, computer graphics, art, biology, and
I was about to say that actually. If you look at like Unreal Engine and stuff, right? Like when it comes to like video gaming and like the game development, like I've seen someone actually develop a game before with like Unreal Engine. There was like some release footage like, hey, I make a game with Unreal Engine, right? And they also had those fractals, right? And they were like actually moving an object, enlarging it, stretching it, this and that. And like all those fractals, they were moving too and stuff, you could say, right? So yeah, if you're like into like developing something that has like graphics, like video gaming, for example, you actually have a lot to do with this as well. Wow.
Fields including mathematics, physics, computer graphics, art, biology, and finance.
That's probably what I'm most familiar with, like computer graphics.
So let's delve into some of these examples, like Mandelbrot set. This set is named after the mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot, who was one of the first to study it.
That's a very German name.
The Mandelbrot set is a fascinating and infinitely complex mathematical shape. It's like a captivating picture that's made using a special math formula. We're going to work with complex numbers. These numbers are made of two parts. A normal part like 2, -1, 3, and a unique part like 2i, -3i, and etc. Think of it as having two pieces of information in one number. For example, a complex number could be 2 plus 3i. Think of each point on our graph as having its own special number, and we are going to apply a specific rule to these numbers.
Wow, now it gets
the rule
interesting.
involves squaring the number or multiplying it by itself, and then adding the original number, which gives us a new number.
Wow.
After each application of the rule, we check if the number is growing too large. If it becomes too big, we stop the process for that particular point.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
We'll assign colors for each point based on how many times we could apply the rules before the number became too large. We'll repeat this process for every point on our graph, and for that we need thousands and thousands of iterations,
Wow.
which is indeed a lot of work for a human being.
Yeah,
That's
you can go
why we
like
use
forever with
computer
this.
coding to do this for us. And
Yeah.
in the end, we'll come up with this. A stunning and colorful pattern known as the Mandelbrot set
Wow.
that looks like a mesmerizing piece of art, showing perfect circles of different sizes attached to a perfect cardioid at the main part of the pattern. It is indeed a captivating shape in the world of mathematics that keeps revealing new patterns and surprises you the more you explore it.
Yeah.
For example, if we zoom to this part of it, we see circles on top of circles and smaller
Oh,
scales.
yeah.
And it goes out and forms this little tree made of 3 branches, every one of which is divided.
You're right. Like that's why if we use like a zooming glass and we look at, let's say, a leaf, for example, it looks like you see like a whole new world of things. It's like you see leaves within leaves or something, right? Yeah. It is actually like that. It's like yeah, you use like a zooming glass and you're like, oh, what is this? There's a leaf within a leaf. What is this vein? This vein goes to another vein. So yeah, like it's really like that. Or if you have like a microscope, like even if you look at like small things, like if you have like a single hair of a human being and you put this on like under a microscope and you look with a microscope at a single hair, it's like you see hair within hair or something sometimes, right? Like you see a lot of different stuff. Sometimes there's like a bit of dust even like connected to the hair and it looks like, oh, there's a hair on a hair or something. Yeah.
Into smaller stems. Now the next one on the left branches into 5, and the next branches into 7, and then 9, 11, 13.
Oh!
Do you see what happens?
It becomes
goes
more.
on and on with odd numbers.
But gets smaller, yes?
And on the other side, you have both odd and even numbers. Isn't that amazing? Just look closer and closer, and it goes to infinity.
Yeah, and each
Now
time more
let's
branches.
take 2 numbers and add them. For example, 3 plus 5 equals 8.
Yeah.
Do you see the number 8? Yes, here. Surprisingly, between every 2 of them, you have the sum of the both numbers.
Oh.
It is indeed remarkable, and it seems as if Mandelbrot set knows how to count and how to add numbers.
Yeah.
Now come to the left side of the pattern. Do you see that little bump at the end of the spike?
Yes.
Let's zoom and see what it is.
It has many small
And when we
thingies.
zoom, that little bump looks like the entire Mandelbrot set.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one. Interesting.
And there's another
So
one
if we zoom
again.
more and more, we get the
For
same result
infinity
again
almost.
and again.
Does it ever
Now,
stop?
at every
Maybe
age
not.
of the Mandelbrot set, we find different shapes that if we zoom in, we witness this repetition.
Wow.
For example, look what happens if we zoom here. A beautiful and mesmerizing pattern that repeats
It
itself.
reminds me of
again
Ant-Man
and
now.
again.
Have you guys seen the movie Ant-Man? like Ant-Man where he's like shrinking so small, right? Like there's this one scene in the movie Ant-Man, and he's like shrinking, and he's like flying through stuff. It looks like that actually. I'm getting like some flashback. I was like some memories of the Ant-Man movie.
It repeats itself
Wow.
again and again.
Like look at this. But it's beautiful,
Now
right?
explore every corner of this pattern and witness the beauty of it. How can a simple math formula make such a perfect and at the same time intricate pattern like that?
Allahu
If you think
Akbar.
that this beauty was made by Benoit Mandelbrot, it's wrong. He just put the formula and then he himself was surprised by the result of it.
Yeah.
It's all a map of the numbers that's belonging to that formula.
all from Allah
when we just
subhanahu wa
run it
ta'ala.
through that algorithm.
Wow.
Now what happens if we change the formula a little bit, like making it z cubed instead of z squared?
Good question.
Well, we'll get a different shape. And if you see, instead of those circles, we have cardioid all over the place. And if we increase the power of z, the shape keeps changing and changing.
Yeah, more small ball thingies.
Now, can we find Mandelbrot patterns in nature?
Everywhere,
Well,
right?
The answer is yes. Here are some examples.
Do not cells work a bit like that?
Okay, enough with Mandelbrot set. Let's take another example of fractals. The Fern fractals.
But what about cells? Aren't cells also structured like that? Because they're kind of round too, right? They're like also like next to each other. So if you look at like skin cells and stuff, I've seen before like images of it. That's also like Mandelbrot, right?
It's a well-known mathematical structure known as Barnsley fern.
Barnsley
It's a
fern.
fern of ferns of ferns.
A fern
This
of
is
ferns.
again a self-similar pattern. Just like the Mandelbrot set can be created by a special function, the fern can be created in the same way but by 4 special functions.
Wow.
The first function will take any point and move it onto a line at the center. The next will move points up and a little bit to the right. The next rotates everything to the left, and the last one flips everything to the right.
Ah, so
This
it goes
stage,
multiple
it might not be
directions.
clear how these 4 functions relate to the fern itself exactly. So let's do the same visualization again, but this time with a bunch of possible points on the fern itself.
You know what I think how that works? So let's go back here. So if you have like many of those and they are not all the same shape, some go more to the right, some more to the left, some are a bit more wide, some a bit more like going up, right, longer. I think if you have enough of those, it creates some sort of image or like a leaf, right, like the fern, right? So it's not about like single ones, but it's like if you have like so many together, you get some sort of image from those, right? Some sort of shape. And if you look at like the fern, not all, like the leaves, they don't all go to the same direction. Some are like a bit more curved, some are a bit more straight and stuff, right? So you can apply this there, of course, yeah.
Relate to the fern itself exactly. So let's do the same visualization again, but this time with a bunch of possible points on the fern itself.
So they're focused on
it's
points.
obvious that the first function creates the stem, the second creates successive ferns as we move up and to the right. The third creates the first leaf on the left, and the fourth creates the first leaf on the right. Putting it all together, it's a bit more obvious how these functions can create ferns.
So it's each has one
We write
direction,
the
yeah.
coding for these 4 functions on computer, and the result that can be generated will look like this.
Wow.
Which means that this beautiful pattern is not an output of chance, rather someone has designed it using specific functions.
Yeah.
And if we look to the world around us, we'll find numerous examples of this set of functions.
Yeah.
Another example of fractals is the Fibonacci sequence, a pattern we previously discussed on a separate video, which you can find on our channel. It's not only a well-known mathematical sequence, but it also holds a fractal nature. This sequence is prevalent in various natural formations.
Wow. Yeah, the sunflower. But you know what? Like, it's interesting here. So by those miracles and everything, we are like proving here the existence of God, because everything is just so perfect, right? Like, you can even just like simpler examples from daily life, like why nothing is by chance, right? So the distance of the sun to the earth, right? I heard that if the sun was a bit closer to the earth, no life would be possible on this earth, right? And it can't be by chance that the sun is exactly at this one spot in space where it does not destroy life on earth, right? We have like so many other planets in the universe that can't be inhabited because of some climate problems, some atmosphere problems. But when you look at like planet earth, how like nature works, right? How you have like plants that need sunlight to grow, how the water with the earth, with the sun, creates plant life right on earth, like where the position of the sun is. If it would be a bit off course, right, and a bit closer to earth, there would be no life. Like all those you can say are like proofs of the existence of a creator, of God, right? Because everything is too aligned and too perfect in a cycle or connection for it to be a coincidence. Like if something happens by random chance, how likely is it that by random chance this and that works together and has like some sort of function that needs this to function and that to function and this and that and the connection of everything, right? And how if there was like one error, like nothing would happen. Like same with like human beings, you know, it's like so astonishing and like so breathtaking. So we have all genetics, right? And if like there's a new child being born and you have like the chromosomes, you have the DNA strings, this and that. Did you guys know if like one single DNA string, like one single thingy wasn't as it is with us, that we would have like children that aren't like even able to be born and to function as human beings? Like one small single string of the genetics, if that one's removed, a child cannot even be born. It's like breathtaking, right? Like how mathematically you have a certain number of DNA, like of the genetics of those strings, right? And if like one is taken out, life is not possible and stuff. Like it is breathtaking, like how there are so many complex mathematical things in nature, be it the distance of the sun, like the chromosomes, the DNA strings, this and that. And you need a certain amount for something to function. And if it's like wrong by a bit, nothing functions. Just like life on this earth would not function if the sun was at a different distance to earth, right? It would probably be too cold or it would be too hot for life, right? So yeah, this is like breathtaking. Wow.
Fractals are everywhere.
Yeah.
It seems like the
wings of a fly
universe
too
is following some similar codes that repeat themselves again and again at every scale. Just like
crab.
hints for us,
I had a pet
so
one
that we
actually
contemplate and find the truth behind them. After knowing all of this, let me ask a simple question. Why do fractals occur both in math and in our physical world? To be more precise, why does the nature follow mathematical laws? Well, coincidence cannot provide any explanation.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Don't you think that someone deliberately put them there? I mean, think of it. This is a mathematical code which is deliberately written by someone, but this one is a real thing in nature. This is coded with a mathematical formula, but this one is found within our real world.
Yeah.
Again, this is made by a
copy of the real
mathematical
world.
code, but this one we see in our real world. Just look carefully.
Yeah, that rule is never broken. It applies to all of it.
This is the outcome of a coding made by an intelligent man. And if you ask an atheist, he'll say it can't be randomly shaped by itself.
Yeah, they are contradicting themselves.
This one, which is in our real physical world, is happened by chance. Well, for me, it seems like arrogance. And
yeah, if it's by chance, like imagine you're changing something in the formula by chance, right? Like, you are ruining the formula. Yeah, like imagine the formula was like different. then would you get the same sort of result, like from the leaf or something? No, you will get something completely different. Like, it wouldn't function like this anymore, even. Yeah, there are like certain things, that's what I'm saying. Same with like how a child is born, how our DNA, the genetics work, this and that. Like, if there was like one single thing different, like we wouldn't get this, right? Like, there's like so many examples from nature where you are like, how does that even work? For example, like if you look at like life itself, like what's the key for life? You could say it's water, right? But what else is key to life? Oxygen. How the heck did oxygen get to our planet? Like, is it also by a random chance that we have oxygen to breathe? Like, there are certain things that are only available on Earth, and we haven't discovered another planet that have them available. And how is it that by chance one single planet in a universe out of so many planets has such a perfect system where life can function on it? Like, this itself is like stunning, right? It's like crazy when you think about it. Like how if one thing was different on Earth, there would be no life possible. Be it the distance of the sun, the lack of water, or the lack of oxygen or something. Like if one thing was missing, just like with the child and the chromosomes and then the DNA and this and that, like that would be a big trouble for something to even live, right? Wow.
This is
Allahu
exactly
Akbar.
as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين فقد كذبوا بالحق لما جاءهم فسوف يأتيهم أنباء ما كانوا به يستهزئون.
in fact, these occurrences consistent with mathematical principles can be viewed as compelling evidence of a deliberate and intelligent design shaping the beauty and order in natural world.
There was the architect behind
الذي
it.
له ملك السماوات والأرض ولم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك وخلق كل شيء فقدره تقديرا.
The presence of mathematical patterns and principles in both fractals and nature is undeniably fascinating and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Mathematics, often hailed as the language of the universe, reveals intricate structures and concepts that are deeply woven into the fabric of reality. This revelation can strongly indicate the presence of an intelligent creator.
Yeah, it's not by
imbuing the
random
natural
chance.
world with a remarkable order and structure.
Wow. Yeah, like, this is crazy. Wait, is there more coming, or is it just showing us again what we already saw? Oh, it's just repeating what we saw, right? Yeah, like, this is what I even say to my atheist friends. Like, think about, like, our life on this planet, like, this Earth, like, how everything is like functioning in like how many cells a body needs, like how many chromosomes someone needs. What about like the sun, like the distance? Why is it not changing? Why is it like set like this, right? Like where does everything come from? Like if you look at like all the complex things at nature, or like how, like even like I'll give you guys an example. A small ant of certain ant species, for example, leafcutter ants, can walk for like many hundreds of meters to like a tree, right? And from this tree, it can actually find back to its nest. How is that possible, right? Or like when ants are flying out to mate, how can the male find a queen even if the queen fly already 10 minutes into a certain direction? The male can still find the queen and stuff. Like there's so many miracles. Or how the bee goes to a flower that is more than a kilometer sometimes even, or like half a kilometer away from its nest, and it can come back, right? Like certain insect species are so fascinating because like how does a bee, for example, smell or mathematically calculate where its nest is? Like let's say a bee leaves the hive and flies out, zzz, flies for like 5 minutes into a certain direction, and then gets to a flower and then flies back and finds back to the nest. Like how can by coincidence, by random chance, such a smart, intelligent insect exist? Like, or how do like dolphins, was it dolphins or whales? I hope I don't mix this up. Well, I think both do this, but also whales do this. Yeah, I think whales for sure do this because I saw a documentary about it. They are using some sort of waves, right? Like, I don't mean waves like in the water, but like waves with their voice. Like a certain frequency to contact whales that are very far away through the water with frequency that's being sent through the water, right? So they can like actually communicate even over long distances by having a certain vibration with their voice that creates some sort of wave that's being sent out, and another whale can hear it and communicate. Like there's so many complicated things, and the bee and the whale is just like, it's just two examples that cannot be on this planet by a coincidence, and they're proving the existence of Allah, of course. Like Allahu Akbar. Like nature and life is full of miracles, just like we saw here, right? Like it's crazy. It's very, very crazy, guys. Like if someone is still an atheist after watching this and hearing what I say, I'm like wondering what keeps this person an atheist. I think this person is just being driven by emotions and not logic itself. I feel like some people, they're ignorant by choice because they feel like if they follow a religion, they get restrictions in their life. Like, but even behind restrictions like haram and halal, there's like good in it. If you don't do something that's haram in Islam, you're protecting yourself from harm. If you're following something that is halal, you get something good out of it or something not bad out of it. Maybe fun. I feel like you always get something out of something that you do, even if it's killing time so you're not bored, or sometimes like pleasure, like eating good food that is halal. Delicious, right? But yeah, guys, God does exist, and this video is like really, really good. Let me give this one a thumbs up. I really enjoyed watching it. Like I love checking out those Quran and science or Islam and science videos because they also increase my iman. Like it's really breathtaking to see this. Like wow. But yeah, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time.